Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So the last update about Unfortunate Love was how Rishi finally bring Lakshmi back to the Oberoi house, and Neelam decided to leave the house if Lakshmi is going to enter the house. Then Grandma pleaded with Neelam, and then Neelam angrily goes inside saying that Rishi talked in a rude manner to her. So let's continue from there. Bani asks Shalu why their aunt is always calling them clever and cursing their sister. She says Rano did a big conspiracy to get Lakshmi married to Balvinda, and now she is cursing Lakshmi that their sister cannot stay at the Oberoi house. Shalu asks Bani not to worry about their sister and says Rishi will not let anything wrong happen with Lakshmi. Bani says to Shalu that even I trust Rishi. She says aunt fixed our sister's marriage for money. Shalu says she is also angry and says they should teach their aunt a lesson. She says she might do something dangerous with us and we should not let her play our game, so we need to teach her a lesson. Grandma says to Virendra that Neelam is very odd. Virendra says Neelam's son said a big thing because he was helpless. Grandma says Rishi was odd. Virendra says Rishi will make everything fine. Rishi bent down in front of Neelam and hugs her and says, I did not bring Lakshmi back to betray Malishka, and he promised that he will marry Malishka and she will be the daughter-in-law of the house. Kiran comes to the Oberoi's house and claps. She says to Rishi that now you will marry Malishka. She says, what did you say, Neelam? That Lakshmi will not come back here. But now, not only did Lakshmi came back, but she left her foot impression as if she is the house Lakshmi. Everyone looks at Lakshmi's footprint on the floor and they were shocked. Kiran blamed Neelam for betraying her and helping Rishi and Lakshmi to unite. Neelam knows that no. Kiran says you have hurt me. She then tells Rishi that you did wrong with my daughter. Then you promised her marriage and you gave her ring. She says then you brought your ex-wife home and now you are saying that you will marry Malishka. Kiran says to Rishi that how will you marry Malishka? You will hold Lakshmi with one hand and you will take wedding rounds with Malishka holding her hand with the other hand. She asks if Rishi will do marriage this way. She says, I regarded you as my son and today you have lost that right after bringing Lakshmi here. Rishi asked Kiran to listen to him. Kiran says you were convinced with much difficulty to marry Malishka and it seems you did not say it with your heart. Rishi asks her to trust him. Kiran says you are asking me to trust you after bringing Lakshmi here, and she angrily looks at Lakshmi. She then tells Rishi that Malishka said that she will not harm herself, but if Malishka does something wrong, then a mother's cause will never go to waste. Kiran angrily looks at Lakshmi and she goes out. Grandma tells Rishi that it is his turn to give a trial of fire. Virendra says to Rishi that you will win this trial because you are right and you are truthful, and always the truth wins. Grandma tells Lakshmi that she is a tigress and she asks her not to worry and says my grandson is with you. Ayu says even me, I am with Lakshmi, and Ahana says I am also with Lakshmi. Ayu says to Ahana that we needed you. It is good that you came back. Ahana says welcome 3 times. Ayu says you are very happy. He hugs Rishi and says well done. Ahana says yes, we are proud of you Rishi, and Rishi looks at Lakshmi. Malishka is driving the car and she says how many exams will I take before I can get Rishi? She says why did Rishi go there and sat at the wedding altar and wore the shera? Malishka is angry and she says to herself that Rishi did not think that I am in his life and he had forgotten that he proposed to me in Lakshmi's house in front of Lakshmi. She looks for her ring and she realized that she has given the ring to Neelam out of anger. She then thinks that what did she do in anger? Now Rishi and Lakshmi's way will be cleared and they will marry. She asks herself why did she do this, and she thinks to work hard and make everyone believe that she will become Rishi's wife and Lakshmi cannot take her place. Virendra tells Grandma that Neelam's heart is broken and it is broken by her son. Grandma says Neelam should understand that Rishi has brought Lakshmi so that Lakshmi's life doesn't get ruined. Virendra says it is not wrong for Lakshmi to come here, but Rishi brought her with different feelings. Grandma says to Virendra that Rishi loves Lakshmi. Virendra says even I hope so that Rishi loves Lakshmi. Grandma asks Virendra not to worry about Neelam. Virendra says what if mother and son doesn't get together again because of this? Grandma says Lakshmi has returned and she will make everything fine, and she asks Virendra not to worry. Lakshmi comes to Rishi and asks that what do you think that you always do? You always think you are doing right. She says she is your mother and she asks if this is the way to talk to your mom. Rishi says I did not do it intentionally. The matters got worse. Lakshmi says you will leave the house due to me, right? And says mommy has given birth to you and she brought you up. So did she do that so that you can leave her one day? Lakshmi says to Rishi that your mom loves you a lot. Rishi says it was not intentional, that I talked to mom like that, and says I had apologized to her. Lakshmi says it is not less than a sin to hurt a mother, and she asks, did she forgive you? She says the mistake is also mine. I shouldn't have come back here. She says I don't know why I came here, and she blames herself. Lakshmi says to Rishi that you brought me here and then you said so much to your mom. Rishi says it was not intentional. Lakshmi asks Rishi to go and apologize to his mom and get forgiveness from her. She says if everything doesn't become fine between you both, then I will blame myself. Rishi says to Lakshmi that why are you blaming yourself? Lakshmi says I am the reason and all this happened because of me. Rishi says mom also scolded me so much. Lakshmi says she scolded you because she loves you and she cares for you. Rishi says I also love you and I care for you, and Lakshmi looks at him. Rishi says to Lakshmi that I did not want to hurt mom. Lakshmi says whether the relationship is of blood or connected by destiny, you have to keep it safely. Because if relationship slips from hand, then only repentance is left in hand and not relationship. Lakshmi asks Rishi to go and apologize to his mom. Rishi says, Lakshmi, your name cannot be something else, and he goes. Lakshmi hopes and prays to God to make everything fine between Rishi and his mom. Neelam is crying in her room and says, you were my pride. I did not know you would talk to me this way. Rishi comes there and falls on her feet. He says, I cannot think of hurting you, even in my dreams. He apologizes and he asks Neelam to forgive him. Neelam makes Rishi get up and takes him out of the room. Rishi asks, what are you doing? Neelam says, you have thrown me out of your heart and I am throwing you out of my room. She asks him not to show fake concern for her and she asks him to go to that girl. She says, I did not do anything other than giving birth to you, and she asks him to go to Lakshmi and she closes the door. Rishi cried outside the room and says, you know what you mean to me. Neelam says that is why that girl is here when I had refused, and says you have forgotten my values. Rishi says I did not forget your values. He says it is your values that we should not forget the person who helps us. He says he is not selfish to forget that Lakshmi married him to save him and she took all his bad luck on herself. Neelam says to Rishi that all that glitters is not gold and every burning thing is not the lamp of the temple. She says you are innocent not to see Lakshmi's true face, but I am not innocent not to see her true face. Rishi says Lakshmi is really good. Neelam says yes, Lakshmi is good and I am bad. She says I got you married to Lakshmi so that your life can be saved, but I shouldn't have done this and I should have let you die. Rishi says to Neelam that we did wrong with Lakshmi and we have betrayed her. He asks that what was Lakshmi's mistake and says all the mistake was ours. The servant Mukesh tells Lakshmi that he will keep her stuff in Rishi and her room. Lakshmi says no. Ayush comes there and asks Mukesh to keep the stuff in Rishi's room, but Mukesh says Lakshmi refused. Ayush asks Lakshmi if she is going back and says no, sister-in-law, please. Lakshmi says don't call me sister-in-law. I am not your sister-in-law, and Ayush looks on. Rishi asks Neelam to see Lakshmi from his side and says Lakshmi is not bad or she is not inauspicious. Neelam says you are not seeing me and you are just seeing Lakshmi. And Rishi says if Lakshmi haven't saved my life, then I wouldn't have been alive today. Neelam says to Rishi that she doesn't want to hear him and she asks him to go. Rishi says I will not go until you forgive me. Neelam says you were ready to leave the house and she asks him to go from there. Rishi says until you forgive me, I will not go from here, and says please forgive me. Neelam says you always take advantage of me because you are my weakness. She asks him not to stand there and says I am going. Rishi says mom, I know that you are standing there even now and you cannot go away from me, just like I cannot go away from you. He asks that do you remember that you gifted me a robot toy and my friend Ronit took the toy. Neelam says you asked me to take the toy back because Ronit might destroy it. He says you asked me not to leave the toy with Ronit. He says it was just a toy, but yeah, the matter is about Lakshmi, who is alive and a human who is not a toy. Rishi tells Neelam that she knows how Lakshmi's aunt is, so how can he leave Lakshmi there? And says I'm doing this for Lakshmi. Lakshmi's aunt might ruin her life. I cannot leave her there in Rano's house. He says I want to get Lakshmi married. You might be thinking that I want to get Lakshmi married and says he genuinely wants to do this because Lakshmi has saved his life many times. Rishi says to Neelam that I will marry Malishka on your saying, but please let me help Lakshmi. He says I'm holding my ears now, which you don't like. Neelam opens the door and makes him leave his ears. Rishi says if you don't forgive me, then I will not eat or drink anything. Neelam hugs him and says don't leave food, and she cried. Rishi says to Neelam that I promised that I would have food and I would drink water. He says Lakshmi can never harm our family and she will never come between Malishka and me. He says trust me, I will marry Malishka and the mistake that happened due to me is because of love. He says I love Malishka and I will marry her. Neelam says I want your happiness and I know that your happiness is Malishka. Neelam smiles and Rishi also smiles. Lakshmi asks Mukesh not to stop his work and says she will call him if she needs his help, and Mukesh leaves. Malishka comes there and asks Lakshmi that what is her bag doing here, and she asks Ayush to go and keep it in her room. Ayush says yes, I am thinking of where to keep the bag, but Rishi and sister-in-law's marriage needs to happen first so that Lakshmi can stay in Rishi's room like before. Malishka angrily pushes and hits Ayush, asking him if he wants to get Rishi and Lakshmi's marriage done again. Everyone comes there. Rishi comes there with Neelam and signals at Lakshmi that everything is fine. And Malishka asks Lakshmi not to think that she would have any relationship with Rishi if she stays here. Lakshmi says to Malishka that me and Rishi have a relationship because Rishi said this to everyone. Lakshmi says Rishi doesn't know the name of our relationship, but we have it, and that is why Rishi brought me back here. She says whatever you are thinking is not right. If I want to get Rishi, then I wouldn't have separated from him. Lakshmi says to Malishka that if I wanted to remarry Rishi again, then I wouldn't have divorced him. She says Rishi did not also intend to marry me, else he would have married me when he was sitting in Balvinder's place at the wedding altar, and then you wouldn't have said all this to me standing here. Lakshmi says to Malishka that Rishi wants to get my marriage done with another guy, so this means that Rishi doesn't want to marry me. Malishka says you look simple and innocent, and you talk sweetly, but your doings are bad. She says I know your doings, and says you want to take my place. And Lakshmi replied and says I had taken your place, and then I returned it to you, and I left. Lakshmi says to Malishka that if I want to get your place, then I wouldn't have left it. Ayush says sorry to say this, but sister-in-law is already in her place, and it is Malishka who have stolen her place. Malishka pushes Ayush and hits him, and says Lakshmi has done magic on you also, and Ayush asks that what do you mean? Rishi asks Malishka to end the matter, and says Lakshmi said it clearly, that we both do not want to marry each other. Malishka says you have brought your ex-wife home, and you will stay with her, so should I not doubt you? Lakshmi asks Malishka if she trusts Rishi, then why are you doubting him? She says I will not stay in Rishi's room, but I will stay in the guest room. Sonia says that Lakshmi should not even stay in the guest room. Neelam tells Malishka that she will not let anything wrong happen with her. Malishka says I'm sorry to talk badly to you, and says I got insecure and scared. She says you are letting Rishi bring Lakshmi here, and if Rishi wants to let Lakshmi stay in his room, then you people will still allow him, and that is why I got so angry, so I am sorry. Neelam asks Malishka not to worry and says I am emotional about Rishi, but I am against his decision. She says I assure you that your marriage would happen with Rishi 100%. Rishi says yes, Malishka. He says you shouldn't have taken the ring off. Mom gave it to me. He makes Malishka wear the ring again, and Malishka gets happy. Neelam has forgotten her insult, and she owed Malishka's hand happily. Bani tells Shalu that Neelam and Karishma doesn't like Lakshmi, so she is worried about her sister. Shalu says brother-in-law is with her, and we should not be scared. She says brother-in-law stopped the marriage, then he beat up Balvinda and he took our sister from here, so he will take care of her. Bani asked God to go and make Rishi's family and Malishka understand that Rishi and Lakshmi are made for each other. Shalu says God has made Rishi and Lakshmi's bond, so it would only make everyone understand, and says very soon, everything will be fine in their lives. Rishi comes out with Malishka. He asks her not to talk to Lakshmi like this again, and she should also remember that he has brought Lakshmi here. Malishka says that is why I am scared. Rishi says I assure you that I will marry you, and he asks her to trust him. Malishka says I trust you, but I don't trust that Lakshmi. She says trust is earned, but I've not earned Lakshmi's trust, and I am scared. Rishi says to Malishka that you don't trust me, Malishka says, what did you do that I should trust you? Rishi says, I made you wear the ring again. Malishka says, then you made Lakshmi come back. And she asks if Lakshmi trusted him and she returned. And you broke my trust and brought Lakshmi back. So how will I continue to trust you? Rishi asks Malishka to trust him a bit. Malishka says, I have trusted you always. And she asks him to see himself and see his actions. She asks, did you do something that make me trust you? She asks him to think, and she sits in her car and leaves, while Rishi stands there and looks on in shock. Okay guys, thank you guys for watching. They made Rishi's character so weak and it is so annoying. It is very, very annoying. But it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all again in my next video. Bye guys.